Hi, in this brief video, we're going to introduce you to the Vonage Contact Center's automated dialing capabilities through our additional product called Vonage Connect, which allows you to create automated dialing lists for your agents to rapidly progress through your outbound dialing campaigns. The Vonage Contact Center always makes use of the contact pad for phone interaction. And when you additively install the Connect package, you get this additional user element that we put here on the utility bar. The Connect widget is a very easy to use interface for the agent to initiate automated dialing activities when you want them to, and they can very seamlessly move between that outbound dialing and going back and answering any inbound calls that may exist in their queues to have a blended experience. Before we look at the agent experience, I do want to show you how you create these assigned dial lists. We create a custom object called the dial list object within Salesforce. And I've got a view here where I'm looking at the dial lists that I have in the system. In all cases, our dial lists are dynamic in nature, which means as new data arrives into Salesforce, new records, they have the ability to automatically flow onto these dial lists. You have the ability to operate off of multiple objects within Salesforce. Most of my data is around the lead object, but you could operate on campaign members, contacts, leads, even activity records. There's two different modes of operation, an automatic and a preview mode. The automatic is a more rapid way to progress between calls and records. In the preview mode, the agent has an additional click to make so that they actually get to preview the record before they actually make the phone call. Depending upon the nature of the outreach, you may decide that a preview versus an automatic list is appropriate. 99 different priorities. All dial lists will be considered zero priority if they don't have a priority field indicated, and a dial list will always exhaust a higher level priority list before going on to the next lower level. And then you can see some summary statistics. I've got 4 active dial lists here, and here's the number of outstanding, completed, and any skip calls that I may have made. So as it turns out, this racing event outreach is my highest priority active dial list and should be the one that we would operate off of. I'm just going to open this up so we can look at how the dial list is constructed. We'll go into the edit function so I can expose the right fields and talk you through them. So this is where you get to assign a name to that dial list. You have the ability to dynamically pick whether it's a preview or automatic. Automatic is a single click for the agent to advance between records. Is that active or not? And then this is where you get to define the parameters of the dial list. So what order would you like to look at the phone fields that may exist in your records? And you do have the ability to look at multiple phone fields. Then you have the ability to filter any of the fields, standard or custom, that you're maintaining on that object within Salesforce. And you can combine up to 10 of these filtering statements to get a very targeted, very specific list if that's what you're looking for. In this particular list, what we're looking for is leads that I am the owner of, where the title contains the word racing. So all of my folks in my org are racing directors or racing managers. The hours since the last time we called is greater than 24, so that we didn't have an outreach to them, just yesterday. And their Einstein lead score is not a 92. We actually have some calculations that go on in the background, and a 92 is not indicative of a lead that's likely to be productive for us. You then have the ability, if you want to alter the logic. It defaults to additive, meaning that each of these statements must be true, but you could put or statements in here if you want. And then when the dial list pulls back all of the records, you have the ability to prioritize how the list is structured, meaning if 10,000 records came back from this, how would I determine who's call number 1 versus call 999? So we're going to use that hours since last call in descending order. Okay. So I'm just going to cancel out since we didn't make any changes to that. You have the ability to assign your agents in any combination that you see fit. So these are all of the agents I have in my system, and you can see there are quite a few of them. I could assign all of these agents or any combination thereof to operate all this dial list. I'm just going to assign myself because these are my leads and no one else should be calling them. So now that we've done that, We'll take a quick look, just validate. We've got these 4 lists that are active. This racing event outreach is the priority list, and it does have 4 outstanding calls to be made on it, so it should be able to operate from there. The agent does not have to interact with the dial list object or fields at all. When appropriate, all they need to do is make sure that they open up the Connect widget, they hit the start button, and the system will automatically find the appropriate lead, in this case for them to reach out to, Thomas Kanan. It's going to pop open their contact pad, it's going to pop open the record, and it's going to place the phone call so that your agent can quickly process Mr. Kanan's needs. So maybe he wants some pricing info. We have this ability to disposition of calls, which is very handy for the reporting. Automatically, we're going to store the activity record against his lead, but we do have the ability to also store it against any other object in the Salesforce org. So maybe that product that he has that interest in might be an appropriate linkage to make. And so I have the ability to save that, and I can then release this call and go on to the next. As that's launching, I'm just going to close Thomas's record, and the Connect widget is going to tell me the next call that it is finding, and that is still on that racing event outreach, and it's going to be Mr. Alexander Rossi. And it will do the same screen popper, record popping. Okay, whatever it happens to be. And so I think you can see how you can very rapidly advance through your records and make a very high and productive amount of informed calls with the Vonage Contact Center integrated into Salesforce. We'll let this final call go through that I have initiated. And so we can do all of the appropriate. And as an agent, either started to receive calls in queue and wanted to take them, or just decided that it was no longer time to be operating within the dialer, you have the ability to release yourself and then simply just stop the dialer. And if you wanted to then pick up your organized dialing activity at some point in the future, you could just come back and reinitiate. Now, in terms of the detailed statistics that we gather, it is important if you're going to make these kinds of organized outbound dials that you have the ability to differentiate single and simple click to dial activity from your dial list activity. So I have a report that I've created here. Just take a quick look, and I think we want to refresh it to pull in the most recent call records. Yes, we did have some more records. And so we can see I've created a nice little chart here, and I can easily filter down to my agent with a single click. As we then go down, I can see those outbound dials that we made from that racing event outreach dial list, because I do have that field available for me, as well as all of these other informational fields to help me understand the types of inbound calls, outbound calls, inbound emails, and inbound chats that this particular agent has been handling. So I hope that gives you a brief introduction to the power of the Vonage Contact Center automated dialing solution. Thanks for watching.